Today we're going to take a look at how to upload a class roster to myPLTW. So one of the first things we'll need to do is open a browser window and then navigate to my.pltw.org. Now once you are logged into myPLTW by using your email and password, you'll be brought to your dashboard page. Here you'll see that you have several options to choose from, anywhere from courses to professional development to store, community, grants, or help. In order to upload an actual roster, though, you are going to actually need to navigate to the My Sites tab where your school will be located. So you'll see the My Sites button in the upper left-hand corner, and by selecting My Sites, you will now see any schools that you are associated with. You can see in my case that I am associated with Centerville Middle School, Kent Island High School, as well as Stevensville Middle School. For this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and select Stevensville Middle School as my upload site. Once you are in that site, you now have an option to roster your students. So by selecting the roster students icon, you'll see several pieces of information that are going to be necessary to complete this process. The first thing you have to be aware of is what role you are actually playing. If you are a program coordinator, site coordinator, or teacher, then you do have the ability to upload a roster to a specific classroom. You also want to make sure that you download this PLTW student roster instruction document. This document contains several pieces of information that are going to be necessary for you to gather prior to uploading your class list. In this case, one of the main pieces of information that are needed is your course code. For this demonstration, we're going to upload a green architecture class, so we're going to be using the code GA. After you have familiarized yourself with the student rostering instruction sheet, you'll need to download the student roster template. This template will come in with a basic header row that contains the teacher's email, the course code, the course begin and end date, the student's first and last name, the student grade, state ID number, gender, and date of birth. If you are unable to gather the student's state ID number, you may also use the school ID number as well. Now for this video demonstration, I've already pre-uploaded a roster that we're going to use. As you can see, I'm using my email address as the teacher email address. The course code for all 10 students will be GA for green architecture. The begin date is 12/21/2019, and my end date is 6/1/2020. A couple things that I like to do prior to adding my begin and end date is add a few days to the beginning or ends. This kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility if you are have any snow days or your school year is extended. For whatever reason, the students will still have access to the actual curriculum. Then you can go ahead and add their first and last name, what grade they are in, their student state ID number, or if you can't gain access to that, their school ID number, gender, as well as date of birth. Once you have all the information completed for your students, you're going to want to make sure that you save this file somewhere safe and where it's easily accessible. Once the information is located and inputted into the Excel sheet, we are now ready to go ahead and upload that CSV file. You'll simply select Choose File, find your actual CSV file. So here's my student roster template demo. And here we're going to go ahead and submit. It'll tell us that this file is going to be processing. And once it's done, we're going to get a little notification window up here that's going to tell us whether it was successfully uploaded or if it contains any errors. So there's my little notification that we're going to check. And here we're going to see that it says your student roster file was uploaded successfully. If it does contain any errors, typically it will tell you exactly which row or which column there are errors in, and you can simply go back and correct that, and then just follow the same steps to upload it again. Now that it's been uploaded successfully, we're going to go back to My Sites and select the school site. And here you should be able to see that in a few minutes, what we'll see is green architecture will pop up here as one of the new classes. Now, depending on the actual class size, depends on how long this process is going to actually go to take to upload all of that. So it shouldn't take too long, but again, depending on the class size, will depend on the time it takes. All right, after refreshing the screen, you can see that the green architecture class has now been uploaded. We do have the 10 students that we uploaded, and we're going to go ahead and select green architecture. Now, here's one of the most important parts of actually rostering your students, and that's actually creating the course accounts for these students. When creating your course accounts, one of the things you'll want to make sure that you do is you'll see that here's their username and that there is no password that is set at this time. Once we create these accounts, it's going to generate a generic password for that student. You can go ahead and simply print those out the first time, but once you do that the first time, you're not going to have access to those passwords again. We can manually reset them, which is going to be another video tutorial that will be posted here on YouTube so that you can actually see how to change those passwords. But what we'll need to go ahead and do is create those course accounts. Once we create those course accounts, you're going to see here that it asks you to print those student passwords. Again, it's always a good idea. Print them out, make sure that you have them if you're going to keep them, but you can see that those passwords can be difficult for students to kind of remember. So I do like to do something a little bit different with the actual passwords. Once you print them out and close the window, what you'll notice is anytime we need to see them, those passwords are now blocked out. We can't see anything. But here you can still see the actual name as well as the username. You will always have access to that, just not the passwords. So there you go. You have your students rostered, you have their username, and if you've printed out their passwords, you now have access for the students to gain access to their Project Lead the Way curriculum.